Hey, welcome back to Vice Grip Garage and part 4 of our Monte Carlo Stock Car Tribute Car LS swap. Now, we might not get this thing finished today, but I'm going to do everything possible so we can fire this up. We've got some big projects to get down though. We still got to do transmission cooler and cooling lines. We've got a shifter to put in. Guy needs park to fire it up, you know. An entire fuel system, a little bit of ignition work, plus figuring out a cooling system for this thing. Obviously, it's a lot to do, so let's jump in. The guy does have to go back and fix something that we did earlier. I spent quite a bit of time cleaning the original injectors for this LS1. It's a 98. Now what I didn't realize is 98, 99, things get a little bit goofy with GM and specifically the LS1. They went through a lot of different sensor changes and model numbers and things like that. Now what I've learned doing a few of these different computer beep boop boxes, what I should do and should have done and what you guys should do is pull open the software first and make sure the sensors you want to use are listed in the software program. Now that doesn't mean if they're not listed you can't use your sensor, but you're going to have to find the data to input everything in there. Case in point, these injectors are not listed in the Dominator dropdown. Now I did some online searching in Google Web and whatnot, and it turns out these are kind of just a rogue part number. I can't get the specific data I need, like flow rate and pounds per hour, impedance and all that stuff, to build an injector table, which we need for the computer. So what I'm going to do instead is just swap in these Holley 48-pound fuel injectors. These are actually the first set that was in independent Chevelle when we had the multi-port injected, old school looking intake on there. I pulled them out, cleaned them, threw them on the shelf, thought, maybe rainy day, guy might use them. Well, here we are. So I've got to pull the fuel rail back off, get these old injectors out. I will save those because I'm a hoarder, put these back in. I also need to do the same thing with the map sensor, not in the drop-down list. So I got to run to town, pick up a AC Delco one, an original one, and plop that back in. I'm also going to throw the lightning hoses on really quick. I got an old set of them laying on the shelf. And then we can move on to probably the fuel system. We got to run the lines, get a filter in here, do all that stuff. Great. So I got to get this steam kit into the system, so I decided to do it down here. This looks pretty not gonna lie, but it should work. This is some sort of pre-curved hose I just found on the O'Reilly website, like an Isuzu or something, I don't even know, Trooper or something. And that's nice because it didn't kink. I thought about running it way up here and looping around, but it'd just be a mess. And then this is just a T, got that plumbed in, looped over here. So that should be taken care of there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and try to get this power steering taken care of. We can't fire it up without that. We'll have just, you know, it'll look like murder she wrote around here. So here's what I did. Guy took the old line and the line from the Corvette engine and the coat hanger essentially and said, this is what I need. So now we got this weird, long, extended thing with the O-ring that goes into this pump later, on a swivelly doodad with another fitting, and then this is my guess for routing this around here and then hopefully have the longer length I need to kind of swoop and then come up underneath. So I'm going to get this into the gearbox first and then we'll raise the car, see if we can snug this up and then bring it back down again and try to tighten that up. Now the return of the low pressure, not too worried about this. We can just, you know, bring this over here and we'll do something there. Just a piece of hose. I think I got that fitting laying around somewhere. I hope I do. So far that's looking really good. And then this should come up under under there somewhere, like that. If it's dragging a little bit, we can maybe give this just a tackle. Bring her out more flat instead of such a swoop. I did find this fitting here, and that one comes this way too, so we could lay this flat like that and then just run a little rubber hose around here. We'll have to wait and see. I'm gonna lift her up, see what we got underneath. For some reason the threads on this fitting are about 17 miles long. Not necessary at all, GM. But I guess they didn't want it to come loose, because once these are in a Corvette, I couldn't even see this. There's no, listen, you're not replacing a power steering pump in a Corvette without sawzalling the body off. And I can actually say I know that from experience now. Well, that's weird. I thought, oh, it is the right size. Snug these up. Did I do something? Oh yeah, that's the one. Getting loosey. Well, it's in. I think I can roll that fitting like that, and it might just stay. Yeah, look at that. Put just a little bend in this. Custom with a K. All right, just got to tighten that up now. We'll be good to go. We're trying to move stuff around. We finally gave up on the forklift. Donnie's had it. He's going to fix it for me. So it'll go in reverse fine, but it won't go in the forward. Well, randomly. One of every like 74,000 shifts. I replaced the shift thing, replaced all the fuses, replaced the relay, a wire connector that goes to the relay thingy, because I was trying to avoid replacing this very expensive shift cylinder. And I guess there's just like a shuttle or something in here that distributes the fluid differently. Just guessing, I don't know. But I've had the part for a couple weeks now, and I've been avoiding taking these 4 Allen key bolts out and one connector for some reason. I probably spent more time shifting this and not going anywhere than just replacing it. But we're trying to move the other 400 engine back in here, make some more room, clean things up a little bit. Jessica's over here cleaning the stuff out from the trailer. Bentley's washing his motorcycle. I got this through up on a pallet, strapped down. Like I say, we reused. I got a vehicle in mind for this. It's actually a truck. We'll go through these two, this 400 and this TH350, and try to reuse it at some point, but we need that fork truck so we can get it tucked away. Now here's the old one. You can see it's just, see those shuttles in there? See that? I think all it does is when you hit the button, you know, reverse and then forward, it just directs flow. That's all it does. And for some reason forwarder just went out, not reverser. Fire it up, see what you got. Oh, that's right there, that rod. All right, reverse. That works. Nothing! Oh no! Well, what could it be then? That's bad news. Do that again. Wow, that's disappointing. I wonder if it's the switch. No, because that works in reverse,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. Oh no. Got the return line on here. I think a guy is gonna bring this like that. And I'm gonna cut this, clean it up a little bit, shorten it. That's from the old Sawzall action. And then we'll just do a rubber loop right here. Probably double clamp it. That's just return, so it's nothing nowhere near the high pressure line as far as the PS and the eyes go. And then we should be able to put some juice in that, so that system is tidied up and ready to be cranked on. Just to be extra cautious here, guys, I'm going to try to put a little bit of a flare on this, a double flare actually, just so it has a little more of a lip like that one for the hose clamps to bite. All right, guys, let's see it. I heard it worked. Well, we got toggle switches. Butter. I like it. That's actually more handy in my opinion, just to flip her up right there. So guys, the whole issue, we think maybe, was that brand new column switch was shooting juice out of 3 wires. We should have only had it in 2. And then these guys spliced it all into the original harness, looks like, and got us a toggle. So fork truck in action. Good job, guys. My forks are bent, so they don't got much. That'll work. Oh yeah. Nice. Toggle switch it. These guys are gonna help me get the hood on while they're here. I could support it if you flip it. I should have, yeah, see, I spray painted these. Well, that wasn't so bad. Just have to send Bentley back there to swap that map sensor. All right, let's just see our gaps. You don't want to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Good. We got a wrap now. We can't mess this. Oh boy, we got to come forward about 10 feet. I think maybe just your side. We're pretty tight over here. You know what? It might be tweaked now because of the.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Does it close?
Perfect.
Done. Done. Monte Barro's looking pretty complete here, actually. 2 big items I needed to get off the checklist and just had to have some help doing. While the guys are here, they're here to pick up that Corvette chassis for another friend of ours that I'm trading for some motor work. But while they're here, they said they'd jump in. So I'm going to have them start mounting the shifter on the floor. And while they're doing that, since they could be in here while the car's up, I'm going to jump in and start running this fuel system. Get the fuel lines ran, fuel filter, get all that tagged up along the frame, and then we can get those plumbed in up over here. Boy, it's dark under here, not used to that. Get those fuel lines plumbed in there, and then we can cross fuel system off. Being we already have the fuel cell, and the pump is in the cell, and all that's done. We're making progress. It looks pretty good. Ain't bad. If we ever wanted to, we can come right off of here, come around front, and run a oil cooler for the power steering too, or we can get a long one, make some brackets hanging up the sway bar, or do whatever we want to. Nope, never gonna happen. We're not that fancy. I should fill this quick before I forget. I got a little bit of turbulence in there with my nutsert tool being a pain in the rear. So I'm killing some time before we lift this up. I've got sparkulator wires in. Now I'm going to start working on the intake tube here. We need a sensor in that for fire up. And I think what we're going to try to do is get it over in here. I might have to just loosely set the rad in. I'm thinking we might be able to sneak it in here, put that air filter way over here. Otherwise, just a quick little bend, but we got to have some rigidity somehow. I think maybe I should just bolt that rad in. We need it anyway. First, I'm going to cut this coal canister out. Just zip, sawzall, get her out of here. Okay. Uh-oh. What do we got in here? Built better than a Corvette, I'll tell you that. There we go. 8. Lost a either lost it or it never was in here. See that little rubber collar over there? Right here. Not so much here, up there, but it's right there. This one is missing. We need that or the rad's gonna get a hole wore through it, basically. So here's vice grip trick number 748. Cut a piece of 3/8 fuel line. You want a chunk that's curved, like this. And if you measure it precisely, you can spring it in here. See how it looks like a little rainbow? But when your rad sits in here, it's gonna give that lots of cushion and pinch this piece in here, and it's not gonna wanna walk around or go anywhere. And that's why that one over there has that little rubber nipple that gets pulled through. In fact, while I'm here, I'm gonna cut another one there just for extra security. Oh yeah. Oh, you're back. Yep. Right there. Boom. That one's got both the rubber doohickeys. Look at this lower rad hose. You're not going to believe this. Could a guy just swing that over?
Yeah.
Right?
I believe so, yeah. Oh, it's king.
But if I loosen that clamp, I could probably...
Yeah, you might be able to, yeah.
Man, I went and bought like 37,912 different... I got 20 degree, 37 degree, 45 degree down straight, 35 degree, swivel head one. I got a 90.
Looks like you got a lot of them on the shelf.
Yeah. Hooking up the shift linkage, which you got to put this aftermarket little doohickey, and then there's another bracket that goes in here, and then this cable will come in like this, and that's what's going to give us our shifty doodads. I wonder if we should go up above.
I thought about going behind this transmission mounting around.
Yeah, just to
Maybe.
keep it off the pipe
Right.
later, because
Yeah.
that thing's doing big glow and
I
red.
was just looking at that.
We was chatting about this lower rad hose a minute ago. Look how close this is, ish. Now I got like a swivelly adjustable 32.97 degree aluminum shined up unit. And I think if I put that on, see the angle here? I think that could go right on. If I just cut it like there, and then the lower is taken care of, then we just got this nightmare figure out up there. I was thinking about changing the thermostat while I got this out, and this is a 187. What a weird number. It works, I know it works, but for drag and drives and stuff like that, and sitting and stop and go traffic, I want to try to bring it down a little bit. I don't even know, this one was in the parts cabinet. There's like not even a brand on it. This is 82 degrees Celsius. This one's 86 or 87. So we're gonna run with this one, and I'll put this one back in this package. I know it works, I know it's good, so I'll just throw it back on the shelf and put this one in. There we go. Nailed it. Transmission cooler lines going in. We're running AN on that. They already had, Hughes already had the nice AN fittings in the case torqued. So we just ran some Earl's 45s there, and then gonna bring that up front, go right up in here, and then we're gonna boop, put that up in here and run the zippies through the, the new rad, make some big holes in here. That's fine. Guy could spend, half hour, make a nice bracket system and get that out here, and also get an air cushion between the two, so I'm definitely not going to do that and just rip it through there. Turns out we are making it float, because electric fans, you can't get back to the end of the zippy dippy. We going to make a bracket on the end of this, or just pretend we did?
Yeah, we'll put one on the bottom.
On the bottom. Right through the rad. Perfect. Well, we're shopping for a rad hose. This is approximately what we're looking for. There's some in here that are close, but we might have to splice two together. Not the most ideal, but might have to be what we got to do. Found this one. It's got, has this got the right bends? Yeah, it's just a little long. We'd trim this end off. Might work. Well, hey, good morning there. Listen, it got really late last night, but we got some good work done on the Monte Carlo here. Big thanks to Chad and Donnie, who were just swinging by to do something completely unrelated to this and just jumped in and helped. They got the shifter in for me. They helped me put the transmission lines in as well, and then I finished up the fuel system. So I apologize. We just got thrashing and it got late, but I'll catch you up this morning on what was done work-wise. And then our list is shorter, but we still got some big projects yet. Radiator lines. We figure out a throttle cable and throttle cable bracketry on here. I've also got to figure out an air intake system so we can get that sensor mounted, get an air cleaner on this thing. Then we got to do some beep booping, get out the keyboard and see what we could do there. And then see if this thing fires up, drives on its own. If it does, I got some tires and wheels we got to throw on this thing. And then I think we're going to call this thing finished for now. So let's catch you up, see where we left off late last night. Did I clean up all the cans? I think I did. Okay. So them fellers got this in here. We got bracketries down here. And that, I mean, that is solid. That's A on line, runs back to the Hughes transmission there. And we got a shifter in it. Cover's not on it yet because I need to wire in the trans brake real quick today yet. But that is going to be the shifter. That's a B&M shifter right there. And this is that button I believe I might have mentioned. If all goes well, I could figure it out. My brain works right. That's going to be the trans brake and a two-step. Make this really simple to drive in a drag racing fashion. And the other button, we're going to reserve that for future use. And then over here, we've got a fuel system buttoned up. I laid this out a few different ways. I originally designed it to go like this, up and then have a bracket right there that I made. But then I started realizing that's going to minimize our cargo capacity, and it would just be easier to follow the electrical that we have in here. Plus, I put the filter right here, so ease of maintenance and whatnot. Because again, I don't really drive this car, my friends and family do. And if we get into a filter situation, they could do it right here instead of crawling into the car and messing with that. We got about a half a tank of fuel in this. I checked, the fuel gauge actually works, which is really, dare I say, rare for vice grip land. Probably need to figure out a vent, or they could get a little woozy in here, you know what I mean? And that was kind of the bulk of it. A couple piddly things, you know, we got the automatical magic shifter thing off the column. We got the linkage off the column back here. What else? I got the electric fans plugged in. I think we're good to go there as well. Had to modify that fuse panel just slightly. I also need to increase my amperage on that one fuse. That's kind of it. Now today, before I get too far, I want to go ahead and figure out the throttle cable and throttle linkage before I have more garbly gook added in there and makes it more difficult. Once we get that figured out, we can move on to like an air filter and intake tube and stuff like that. So I went ahead and picked up a throttle cable from Motion Raceworks, made right here in the US of A. You know, Doug, Andy, Brian, and Garrett, they're good folks. And they've got this throttle cable. It's universal. I got a few different ones, but it's got, you can adjust it on both ends. Makes it super simple. And I've run that in pretty much all of my projects now. It's just a no-brainer. But we don't have a bracket on that intake, so we're going to have to figure out something there to hold it on this end that's stout enough to, you know, size 13, 0, 100, 0, 100, 0, 92, 0, 100, 97, 87, 32, 77, 100, 100, 100, 105. It can't bend, is what I'm saying. Oh, man. For a limited time, I guess they went back to gushers. True story, when Doug started the company out of his basement, I guess he bought a bunch of gushers. And this was like the old school. Now they use dum-tums primarily. But this is, anyway, long story short, this is that cable I'm using, part number 18150. And you can see it's made for like the GM fork style throttle on this end. And then you've got the newer throttle body on this side, and it's got plenty of length. Clevis style, I think they call it. So let's go ahead and cut the old throttle out. Where is that? Here it is. And I might say this right here, I might be able to actually repurpose this bracket, which normally sits like this on a carb. I might be able to repurpose this up here. Somehow. Okay, so the throttle cable in here, it's way up. What a mess. Way up. Well, it's there. So, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and take this out, disconnect that, then I can actually reach in there with a plier and take off the old cable and get it out the way. Because I might have to drill that out because it's square right now for the new throttle cable. Then we could get that one started on the firewall, thread the cable through, then connect this, then fight getting it to do that thing up there. The other thing I'm working on here, look at this mess. That was for these 3 gauges here. Of course, I'll put them on the shelf. Use them for another small block Chevy because, I mean, all the fittings are here, everything I need. But I don't want to confuse the driver because none of that is going to be doing anything at this juncture. So let's go ahead and get that out of here. 2 more screws, that's off. Also, throttle pedal. Very first thing I do on these here is take a death wheel and hits! Not so much here or there, but whatever that line I just made is. This is all junk. You don't need any of that stuff. There's a plastic piece behind here, and this is where that pedal actually rotates or rocks. All this is just dead weight getting in the way up in the seat, so we've got to cut that out as well. Old throttle cable and bracketry is out. This is that bracket. Normally it sits like this on a carburetor, and these tabs are here to keep this from swiveling once it's tightened down, so it sits flat. Well, I got to looking at this. This is crazy. Write this down. I'll wait a minute, get some paper. If I were to just put this on the LS1 intake, I got to notch this side to be exactly like that side, so keep that in mind. But if I were to notch this and bolt it in, look at the alignment. Are you looking at this? I mean, why couldn't I notch that, drill a hole through here, run a bolt and a nut through there with some never come off juice. It's going to sit about yay high ish. That cable is going to shoot right down. Might be a little close to this, but we can always bend on that, you know. And then whoop, whoop, it does the thing. Well, that's the plan anyway. Well, this is racking on the nerves a little bit, but you'll get that with them bigger jobs. We got to go easy, but all the way, but easy. But faster, but take it easy. All at the same time. How do you get this out? Well, got to make a hole for that bracket. Lots of plastic. Getting nervous. Oh! Oh no, did I poke through? Hope not. That would not be good. JB Weld. Whew! We're safe. Barely. Wait, how am I going to get a nut on that? I don't think I am. Uh-oh. Mistake number 47. So originally I was going to run this through this rear bolt, and I couldn't get a nut on it and couldn't get the right hardware through. I wanted to use like a panhead bolt, a serrated bolt, and a lock nut. So I moved to the front one, but then I was a little too high, so then I just bent it over, and now I think that's going to work pretty good. And it is really, really solid on there. It definitely isn't going anywhere. So that's good. Now, how does this go back on? It's like it goes on a lot easier than coming off. Believe you me. No. Yep. Well, that's going to work just fine. Look how it lined up. Like, on the money. So, easy part done. That's up to the firewall. Just added a couple washers here, a couple washers there, and just got to put the clevis on the pedal. We're going to hack that piece off I was talking about just a minute ago, and then bolt all that back in, and we'll have a throttle. That's the piece we cut off. And here's what's left. And just kind of rounded her out. Made it so it doesn't cut or snag on anything, you know what I mean? Oh, wait, we got rebuild just laying on the floor here. Oh, powder coated it, you know, while we were at it. There. Perfect. Okay, well, that is all finished up. We have throttleage done. You like it? Boys are checking in on me. What do you got pajamas on or what's going on here? Yeah. So now I think we can move on to, I suppose we should finish up the upper rad hose, get that done before we start on the intake, because the rad hose is going to determine how we run. Boy, it would be really slick if we could get something over there, but it's most likely just going to be beep, filter. Anywhoos, let's dig in. So I took that one hose. There was a slight curve at the end. Snip! Snagged that off. And then I took a chunk out of the center, because I got like a barrel connector thing, and I really don't like doing this, but you know, if it works, is it a dumb idea? Look at this custom hose. Done. We can put some ice cube juice in this thing. And I think, did I miss anything, or can we fire this up? Fill it with water, see what happens. Boom, that's bolted up. And then I slid that. There was this sheeting over it for some reason, some sort of heat shield, whatever Yamasaki car this normally went into. I just slid that over the hose clamp, so you really got to look, you know, close. See that it's even got that barrel connector in there, and then I use cloth tape to kind of doll up the ends. But now we got a lower rad in. That's the original to a Monte Carlo, thanks to that swivel neck thing. And then I should have looked whatever this thing was into. I also grabbed this one just in case, but we ended up not using it. I'll return that. $42. Okay, anywhoos, on to an intake thing. Got that big box over there. You've seen it before. That's the Universal 9499 kit. And it's got like 37 feet of pre-made tube in there. You just got to cut out what you want. And there's a bunch of elbows and stuff like that. See, boy, we kind of are limited now. It didn't quite turn out the way. Maybe we just got to go and just end it right there. I don't know. Let's figure it out. Flowmaster Delta Force. Anyway, this is the kit I use on the Hemi half. I like it because I don't have a plan. I never know what's going on. And that's exactly what this kit is for. This says, I have no idea. Because there's, you know, angles and bends and angles and straights and bends. 58,000 clamps. about 912 boots. You get the fill tray with it. Actually, a really nice fill tray, if I'm being honest. That's the end thing for that. You get some bracketry. So we're gonna try to figure out how to make this fit. Now this is a lot bigger than I remember, which is good for airflow, but we may not be able to sneak it over there. We know we're gonna need a 90 like that to start, or maybe one of those bendy doodabbers. But anyway, these are just where you snip, nip, snag. Wherever you want. It's kind of a provision. Is that a word? Yeah. Oh, perfect. Good job. Air cleaner's figured out. Nope, that ain't gonna work. But here's what I'm looking at, is we might just have to do, you see this a lot, just an elbow and filter. But we might put a twist on her. Well, I guess we can't. We don't really have the room. I was trying to get it more down maybe 290s. Because I was just thinking, if a guy had it down here, we'd have a whole lot more cool, fresh air. Especially when you need it the most. When the fans are on, engine's hot, this is going to be blowing a lot cooler air, right? So I wonder if I could do 290s. Even if I got a boot on that. Oh, let me play around. I'm going to cut a couple more angles out of that thing. Getting over here, not looking likely. Because if I do that, we do have this one, but I don't know that I could get it flat enough. Oh, let me play around a little bit. Ultimately, it'd be a cleaner, better look if it was over there. More like the stock look. The lazy is just air cleaner. That's how we're going to end up, probably. Great. Well, I am working my way there. Just 90, I don't know what that is. 45? 35, 30, 29. And then I gotta get this. Just gotta try to, I don't know if I need more here or a straight. Well, we're getting closer, and then we gotta figure out bracketry. Although this is actually really solid because it's kind of riding on this, we probably want to try to figure out, see, this has bolt provisions here where you can have a bracket. We can maybe even do a bracket right here. I'm just going to keep working through this. The nice thing is I got tons of pieces left. I got a couple different brackets, different boots, and then I got all of those other angles and straights and stuff over there as well. So we'll figure it out. Yeah, how's this looking? Ain't too bad. I just got to, I got this bracket here. I'm gonna try to make something run down to the fender well for support so it's not just riding on the upper rad. But this looks great, and then we can come in here and drill this in right here, and that'll be done. I just need to get everything clamped into place solid other than the one that goes to the throttle body. And then we could take this off. I'll mark that. We'll drill it out, put a grommet in, RTV that in. Check all the fluids. I think we got oil, we got transmission oil. And then check for fuel leaks. Crank on this thing. Oh, I got to put a tune in it. I'm a computer. You know, that stuff. And then see what happens. Well, the guys got her all clamped up here. And I marked it right there. I'm thinking that would be a good spot for this, and then I can tuck this wiring down in there. I thought about like trying to hide it or get it out of the way, but then it's belt interference, and I just want this an easy, no issue, no maintenance vehicle. So if we could do something like that, I think that's going to be way more gooder. So we'll drill this hole, get a grommet in there, and then I bent up this bracket here. Oops, helps if I put it the right way. And that'll go down to the fender well. Give us some rigidity. on this guy here. We getting any air through here? Oh yeah, I guess there'll be plenty of air coming through. All right, I made this little bracket try. That's in. Now it's, yeah, well, that ain't going nowhere. Whoops. That ain't going nowhere. Now, I think we just hooked the science wire. Yeah, we want it this way. In this hole I made. Something like that. Something like that out of the way of the belt. Boom. That's done. Okay, let's add some ice cube juice. And I can get the digital laptop online walkie-talkie hooked up to the beep boop wire. And then we can finally crank on it. I was working, Bentley said he's got a activity for us. What we got going on?
So it's like a little racetrack, these mini RC cars. Remember, here's the pit. We have the two new, the Fox and Lucas.
Okay.
And then that old one will be the backup car.
That's the spare one?
Yeah, in case someone's car breaks down.
Okay.
And then you pull out right here. You stay to the left of the cones.
Oh, my checklist is your jump?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we got a gravel pile. That's dangerous.
Yeah, you gotta avoid that.
Yeah, we got some traction issues. We got another jump. Okay. How many laps we doing?
5.
5 laps? How do we know, like, how do we pick cars?
I'm gonna put like 4 pieces of paper. 2 of them will have Lucas, 2 of them will have Fox. And then we'll close your eyes and draw, and we'll put it in a hat.
Well, if you do 2 of each, we could both draw the same one.
Oh, true. Well, then I'll just do one.
All right, let's do it. Let's race. All right, no, close your eyes. Okay, draw. What'd you get?
Lucas.
Wait, you're excited. That means that one's better.
It's just the one I wanted.
All right, let's race them.
Okay.
Hip. Alright. How much can I spill on the floor? All of it. All of it's going on the floor. No, it's pretty good actually. I take that back. Okay, I need a funnel, I think, is what I'm saying. Oh, don't I have a funnel that we hook onto this that sticks straight up in the air?
I think.
Let's try to find that. Let's pause after this. I'm gonna call a timeout. Because this is, let's not be dumping money on the ground, basically. That's why it's green. All right, we've got the Dominator software hooked up here. And I loaded a base LS file that was already in here, so it kind of gives you a base for whatever kind of engine or parameter, naturally aspirated, boosted, whatever. So I just did a LS and changed the displacement, and we got to go through here and just make sure everything's correct. So I had to change the injectors because we have Holly 48 pounds. We had to go in and change the ignition parameters for the teeth on the crankulator. And then also we had to go in and change a lot of the sensors as far as the map, coolant temperature, MAT, the oil pressure, and the fuel sensor. Got all that set up. So we've got a basic fuel map here and also ignition map. This looks pretty blocky and rough, but it'll figure itself out once it gets up and running. I just kind of typed in what we hope to see based on engine RPM and map signal. Now I'm going to go ahead and program in the 2-step. You can see we don't have inputs and outputs up here, so I'm just going to go to Toolbox, Add Config, IO, which is inputs and outputs, and then we're just going to do base. Add that in. Now I can go up here And we could just click on it, and we're just going to type in two-step, and we want that to be 12 volts. Well, for Pete's sake. Oh, I have to click the enable button. And we want that to be 12 volts because remember, we've got a two-step wired from our battery to the secondary fuse panel into the inside, which we're going to hook to the button. So when we hit that button, it's going to send 12 volts to the trans brake and to the ECU, which is going to be the signal that we need to activate that two-step. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Now we can go to our pin map, and remember we wired that to A3 way back. I don't remember which part of the series it was. I remember it was A3. So all we have to do is click on two-step, drop it down on A3. Now that A3 input number 2 has our two-step enabled. So we hit done. We're going to go ahead and save that. Now we should have everything we need to fire this up. You can see I haven't fired it. There's nothing in the learn table, nothing there. We'll have to do a TPS auto reset once we turn the key on, which tells the computer where the throttle is at and calibrates that TPS. And then we should be able to check for fuel and just crank this thing here in a second. All right, we're going to go key on. We should hear the fuel pump prime. Yep, there goes the fuel pump. No leaks. And we can go link this puppy up. We're going to send to ECU. We're basically uploading all of this information. I need to cycle the key, it says. Okay. Now, link it again. TPS 99 0. All right, let's go ahead and crank it. Come on now, bring in the thunders. Yes! Yes! 45, 46 pounds of oil pressure. 64 pounds of fuel pressure, got quite a bit of idle surge. Oh, the IAC's going crazy or what? Yes, it's alive. Enabling learn on idle. I don't know what I'm looking at. Got to figure out the surge. I think it's the IAC going nuts. Yeah, see, I unplugged that, and it's the same. That's 0. Even plugged in. I got a bad sensor? I don't know. Warmed up quick. Boy, that surge. I'm gonna have to read up. I'm pretty positive it's my IEC. Oh, there it seems to be working. Huh. Here we can see it's already learning and changing the fuel graph. And when we're ready, after we get enough data, idling it, driving it around, fix the surging issue, we could transfer this to base, and then we can go in and clean up that table and smooth everything out. But this is the nice thing is, even though I'm a carburetor guy, twofold, I am, you could just, boop, jets have changed, metering rods changed, everything changed. Look at it just working away in there. All right, let's try the transmission. That'd be nice. Well, I was playing around on the beep boop box there, and by just changing the map sensor settings, I can dictate how it's doing the idle, whatever. I didn't get the sensor that I wanted for the map sensor that I wanted for this. The connector was wrong, and I don't have the connector adapter. So I'm running the original LS1 and trying to trick it that it's another one in a map table that I made, and well, as you can tell, not the best digital tuner apparently, because we got some dip and dive, but nonetheless, it's running. Cooling fans are on. Let's see if the transmission's doing transmission things. Oh, we got a fuel gauge. We got a tachometer. Oh, power steering is butter. Oh, yeah. All right, reverse. Immediately. That's good. Oh, yeah. This thing is shifts like now. I gotta adjust the linkage just a little bit. Oh, that's great news. Okay. Good running engine. Just got to get that map sensor. Nice. I'm gonna let it run for a few minutes. Let it do some learning. It's charging, staying cool with just one fan. And that map sensor, that's what's going nuts right now. You can hear it singing in there. We got ourselves an LS swap Monte Carlo. Now the part you've all been waiting for, tires and wheels. Now, I took a gamble on these, and I think a lot of you thought I was crazy initially when I mentioned painting some rallies gold. But now, dare I say, these are a fan favorite. I love the way these look. The big dish, the gold, kind of the nostalgic look, and of course, the old eagles on them. But they're just not practical. What I mean by that is, well, these are not made for the highways. You can't balance them. They're impossible. I've tried multiple times. They've been in 4 or 5 different shops. You just can't do it. And the manufacturer will even tell you that. And then getting to these wheels, because they're so wide and dished, they're also not true. They got a waller in them. So it's just compounding the issue. And unless you spend really big bucks on a wheel like this, you're just not going to be able to even, balance a traditional tire. So we're going to change it up, but not very far. And the basic goal is keep the old school look, but make it to where we can run down the interstate at 175, 70, whatever the speed limit is, and not just get your brains shook out. That's the goal anyway. Show you what I got here. Center cap should give it away. Guy loves his rallies, but we're switching it up a little bit. Yes. Yeah. These are 17s. These are 245, 45 17s. Guy did a bunch of math magicianals. These should be the exact height and width as the other tires, but guess what? These are balanced. Plus we got a whole lot more wheel. They got a machine lipped, and then that silver, classic silver inside. And I think we're gonna leave that silver instead of going gold this time. Oh boy. Yes. Whole lots of yes. Now, these did come with a center cap, and I'm just not, what do you think? I don't know, bleep bloop it down there in the comments. Beep boop. What you think, on? Or off? I don't know, I think we're gonna go off for now, being that the tires and wheels gotta come off a bajillion times during sick week anyway. Not be messing around with center caps for now, but that doesn't mean afterwards we can't throw them on to hit the streets. Oh yeah, these are gonna be perfect. It's gonna be so nice driving this down the highway and not have to get dental work. All right, let me get the other three on and we'll get her on the ground. See what she looks like. Yep, I like that quite a bit. And keep in mind, it's even gonna settle a little bit lower. We've had everything jacked up and all up in the air quite a few times. Once we get it out and roll it around a little bit, it's gonna squat down just a little. But man, that looks fantastic. I kind of like the no hubcaps. I don't know, we'll have to see what you guys say. Now all we gotta do is wait for some good weather. It's raining cats and kittens and logs right now, and windier than all get out. Once that clears up, we're gonna stick this thing on the highway, see what we got now. All right, fellers, I got the right map sensor back in here now, and this is a adapter from Holley to go from the new style plug to the older style plug, I guess. And then in the beep boop machine over here, let's see, I don't know what I'm doing. If I come over here to sensors, we got it on this GM, the newer style GM map sensor. So it should run a lot better, and the idle surge shouldn't be as dramatic. I also added a little bit of timing and a little bit of fuel towards idle, and I messed with the startup ramp as well. This is a cold start. There. Perfect. Sounds really good. We can link this back up. Get our gauges. You can see here it's 60 degrees, cold start, but the map isn't going nuts. A little bit of an idle surge, but nothing like before. Oh, it's starting to do it again. Huh. Wonder if that's a little bit of IAC as well. Well, I got some learning to do, but she's awake. So I just talked to Nate, aka Dr. Tunamalls, and I guess I could email him the computer file, and then he's gonna take a look at it, do some keyboarding on it, send it back over, and we'll shoot it into the car. We got to adjust the shifter a little bit still. Everything is working except third. It's a reverse manual valve. Third, you got to kind of, yeah, and I don't want it to be that way to get it in. So we're going to move the linkage just a hair, and I think we can go for a cruise in this thing. See how she does out on the road. So this guy here seems to be rolling all the gears just fine, but back in this detent right there, you got to kind of, yeah. So I got to take a little bit out of park, which means forward, and bring that cable back just a little bit. Make sure we still engage park, of course, but that we're getting, in this case, what would normally be third, or excuse me, first, is third for us. I had them set this transmission up just like independent. So it's first, second, third. So when you're shifting, you're actually pulling back on the gate. I like it that way. It's just something I prefer. I don't know why, but that's just the way that it is. Great. So here's the shift linkage here. I got it back in third all the way back. I'm going to pull this pin out and just see how much more action there is on this, because it must just be engaging. Well, maybe not. Well, we'll find out here. Let me pull this pin out. We'll see where that's at, and we'll try to run it through the paces here, make sure we're getting all the way to park and all the way back to third. Yep! So when a guy popped that out, see that difference? Are you looking at it? It just sprung back right there to drop into position. So now I need to work this backwards. Probably right there. I don't want to go too far because remember, we still got to throw it enough to get the park pin. So I'm going to snap that back in, jump up in the car, make sure we could get it into the park pin, roll it off the lift, get a forklift and a tractor, put the car back on the lift, and then do this again probably 3 times. Okay. Well, don't do this at home, unless you're alone like me. Throw it up in park and rock the car. Make sure it's catching the park pin, and it did. Relax, I got the stops on it. Okay, I think we're good. We're getting park, we're getting third. I can put the cotter pin back in and call this done. Ooh, it's gonna be close. While the guys under here are gonna finish up this trans brake here. One of these is just gonna go to ground right there, and the other one's gonna be our 12-volt source up on the shifter handle. So when you press that button, boom, we're gonna engage the trans brake, and I have another wire that's going up to the bleep blooper up there. That's going to also engage a 2-step potentially. We'll see how bad we want to wring this drive shaft out of here. Unfortunately, this has really, really tall rear end gears. I can't remember exactly what, but I want to say like 270 something, if I remember correctly. Terrible for drag racing, awesome for highway cruising. Back on the top side again, working on the button. Flip the digital meter over to the horseshoe modes there, and then I was able to figure out that these 2 wires are the bottom button on this, and that's going to be our trans brake and 2-step. Reason being is this one's a lot easier to bump on accident, and we don't want to hit that button going on the track. I'll tell you that much. So we're going to put it down here. I might even put another toggle switch. I don't know. Let me ponder. It'd be nice to have a kill switch on the power, so like when you're cruising down the street and stuff, you don't accidentally bump it. Then when you want to go live, you can flip this on. So let me think about that too. We might try to do something on that. Maybe even just something cheap and easy right on the top of the, well, linkage is in the way though. Let me ponder. So right now, Dr. Tunemal, I don't know, he's on this team viewer software. He's running my computer is what I'm saying. And he's upgrading the ECU and going to help me out with a little bit of tuning here. While he's doing that, I'm going to finish wiring in the buttons, get the cover on the shifter, and then we should be able to go cruise. One of these days, when I grow up, I'm going to have to learn how to do this computer beep boop stuff. I wasn't really paying attention, got to be honest. And Nate said, hey, I can see a miss. Not hear, not smell, but see a miss. Just on the, he wasn't even here. He was just looking at the computer box. Sure enough, I got to paying attention and hooked my sniffer on back here on the tailpipes and listened in, and sure enough, we got a miss. So I'm going to change the sparkulators out. He recommended these Educatus 4177s. So we'll do that. I'm thinking I might have cracked the porcelain or something. Getting a little rowdy putting this in maybe. Not quite sure, but one of these on this side specifically, it's missing. It's not quite firing. Not like it's gone or disappeared, but The lightning and the fuel ain't firing, is what I'm saying. So I'm going to start with the worst one, which is that, well, you can't even see it. It's way back, jammed, super tight, terrible in the back there. I'm going to bring this up in my teeth and probably take it out from the bottom. Get those in super quick. The other issue I have to address is this. Hear that? Listen. Yep. When the system builds pressure, it leaks from there. And I have a feeling I stripped those, I think they're M6 by 1 by 25 out. So I'm going to have to drill those, helicoil them, put all that back together. Hopefully then it's done, and we can go for a cruise before the end of the day here yet. Tell me why that's happening. No one knows. But anyway, I'm trying to get this, start with the hard one, fellers. And it just makes sense anyway, logistically. You're going to get into the wobble pops, and it's going to get later in the day. And if you start with the easy ones first, and then you're 29 wobble pops deep, this stuff ain't going to happen, I think I'm getting it. I just got to break my shoulder out of place. And then reach back up in here. Great. Look, I get it. Okay, I'm in the middle of 6 different projects right now, and yes, that's a Christmas ornament. Here's the old sparkulator, and this puppy, I thought I changed these when we got it, but I guess not. These have been in so long, they actually have built a ridge on the strap here. And this is the NGKs we're going to put in, and it's a big difference in plug, but this is what Dr. Tunemal said to run. A lot hotter. You can see the porcelain sticks out farther. So that's what we're going to do, because that's what the tune is. That's what it's expected. So that's what's going to happen. Well, here's the plan if then the guy has one. I thought the rubber seal could have got squished out of there, and it didn't. It's just that cheap junk swivel neck thing. Wasn't applying enough pressure, so of course I smoked it in there, and then that just stripped out those metric bolts. So now we're going to helicoil this thing. We're going to go to 1/4" 20, because this is the closest thing in stock within 914 miles where I live. Perfect. I happen to have some 1/4" 20 by 1 Allen head screws, so it'll be similar to what was in there. And I got the right drill bit. Of course, we'll smear it up with that. The scary part is drilling out the aluminum in a fashion that's going to be sufficient for this to work. Great. Well, it seems like I got them drilled out. I mean, they're crookeder than Tom Cruise's nose, but it's there. Now I'm just slowly working this through like this. And I don't know. Just gonna have to really hope this works, because if not, boy oh grill, are we in some troubles. Well, I'm working up there on the thermostats. Jessica's back here. What is this? What do we got going on here?
Well, we're out of time. We don't have a hitch. We don't have a good trailer for this thing. Trailer that Derek used last year, that we used last year. Derek rolled it about 18 times, so we definitely can't use that one.
It was like 3. Well, probably 10. But anyway.
Anyway. So we're going to try these out. Still trying to figure out exactly how it's going to work, but the gist of it is that
throw it up there.
Big suction cup. And so this part is going to go forward up here. The other end will come on the bottom. And of course we adjust it to fit the tires.
Right, width-wise.
Yes.
Are you going to grab those?
Yeah, so I'm going to go get those off of Independence here in just a few minutes so we can toss them up here and get an idea anyway of where we need them to be and get them adjusted properly, and then hope that it works to do the job we need to get done.
All right. This should, I mean, where I got this idea is they use this on Ruby. Cletus does. So, and if that goes on their Corvette on the roof, doing the stuff that they do, then I'm thinking on the trunk, this should be okay.
Should work pretty good on here, I think.
All right, we'll go grab those tires if you don't mind, and then we could figure out how to space them out and how to tie it off, I guess.
Yeah, and get it figured out.
Helicopter coils going in. Oh boy, I hope this works. You know what I mean? Well, that feels like a successful operation. I don't know yet. We're just gonna have to find out. I also tightened up the battery. Ooh, I gotta tighten this up really quick. Got the overflow all rigged up. We're ready to fire it up, put some juice in it, let the thermostat open, and see if it leaks. If not, I think we're 100% done. It'll even pass tech. One other thing worth mentioning, I had the torch set out, I was doing something else, and lowered the back like 3 inches. So now you can see it sits level. Remember before the rear was kicked up a little bit? I brought her down. Well, we got the air shocklators if we need to go up, but you can't do that to bring them down, so I figured let's level it out. Once we start hauling luggage or whatever it is, it's got a full fuel cell right now. If it gets a little saggy in the diaper, we just shoot some air in it. That'll level it right out. I think it looks way better not having that big gap right there. Actually matches the front, might I say, perfectly. Okay, it's time. Let's go take this thing for a spin. The new and improved Monte Carlo has borrowed many parts over the years, and now has borrowed a heart from a 1998 Corvette. First thing, let's check this trans brake out. Okay. First gear, hold the button. Both my feet are up, not moving. Yeah, she's locked. Let's go 2.5. Transmission is crisp. Not only the 1.2, but the 2.3. Watch this. It's immediate. I'm already smelling I'm going to have to put a vent on the fuel cell. I forgot about that. No big deal. I'll just snip that in tonight, snag in a loop, boop, pop her through. And that'll get those fumes outside instead of rolling in the cabin here. Drivability improved 6,000%, maybe even more. With the old Goodyears and the big 10-inch wide wheels, this thing would just be shaking to death right now. It was actually pretty miserable to drive, I'm going to be honest. This is so much. I haven't even aligned it yet, and it's just way better. Your cows are out, feller. They're right on the highway. Huh. I think we should do the seat of the pants test here. See if it feels like the supercharged 400 or not. Yeah, so yeah, I'm actually gonna go out on a limb and say it feels a little bit more peppy. Holy Moses. Wow. Oh yeah. Wow. Man, this thing scoots, and this ain't a light car. That's for sure. go cruise the roads and enjoy it. What a thrash. So we have a pretty low buck, thrash together LS swap, Monte Carlo. The drivability is much, much better. We better do like a 30-mile-an-hour kickdown. Wow, the shift's great. Oof. Man, we might not need third and a quarter mile with these rear gears. Holy smokehouse. You will see the Monte Carlo on sick week. You know, it's not much of a drag car, but that's not the point for me. It's just having fun. Run what you run. And this is going to be a great car for the event. I feel it'll be great on the highway. Hopefully not have to turn any wrenches on it. Be quick enough to have a little bit of fun down the track. And I guess the goal is, can we see if it's faster than a supercharged 400 small block Chevy? Or will the LS1 fall to it? We'll have to wait and see. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate you very much. Stay tuned. Ton of sick week stuff coming at you. And then we're going to get right back into some other builds that are really awesome right after that. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it very much. I'll see you soon.